Prime Minister again defending himself over claims of conflict of interest. A beloved volleyball coach found dead in his apartment. Damian Gomez clears up his Bank of the Bahamas map. We've got those stories and more tonight. I'm Kyle Joaquin, and ND12 starts now. Tonight, the Free National Movement once again charging that Prime Minister Perry Christie is embroiled in a conflict of interest as he once served as a legal advisor to the oil exploration company that has been granted licenses to drill. Christie today branded the allegation a bogus red herring and blasted the opposition for trying to bring back to life what he called a tired claim it used when the FNM was in panic before the last general election. Dana Smith reports.
Prime Minister Perry Christie once again defending himself against conflict of interest claims relating to his past consultancy for the Bahamas Petroleum Company, calling the FNM's continued outcry a crude attempt to resurrect an old, worn-out story. Christie said he wants to set the record straight and expressed his disappointment the claims are still an issue.
This is a completely bogus red herring that the member for Long Island has used in this debate, supported by the member, as you've just seen, from Fort Charlotte. Mr. Speaker, it is my own personal view that it is a crude attempt to bring back to life an old, worn-out story that was put in circulation just days before the last election in 2012, when the FNM was in an absolute panic and throwing every bit of mud it could lay its hands on, vainly hoping, and I say vainly hoping, that some of it would stick. Mr. Speaker, none of it did. The people of the country heard it. The people of the country voted against it.
Christie, a former legal advisor for BPC in his capacity as a consultant with Davis & Co., declared his association to the company back in 2012. He addressed the conflict claims again this morning after the FNM once more raised the issue, with Fort Charlotte MP Dr. Andre Rollins rising on a point of order during Christie's wrap-up of the petroleum bill.
The Prime Minister is yet to speak of the conflict of interest allegations made specifically against him, rather than running all the way around the world talking about everything but this bill. Would the Right Honorable Member for Centerville speak to this specific bill and the allegations of a conflict of interest in relation to the awarding of a license by his administration and legislation that is going to allow a company that he served as a consultant for to materially benefit? Please speak to the bill before us as you admonish us at every instance.
Thank you, Honorable Member.
A clearly exasperated Christie said, "Here we go again." He said the conflict story is being dusted off and thrown out there once again. But he said, like he did in 2012, he will set the record straight so there can be no misunderstanding as to the true facts concerning his relationship with BPC. Christie declared, "I am not now, nor have I ever been, a consultant to BPC," but admitted he gave them advice.
While I was in opposition and practicing law as a consultant at Davis & Co., I did give advice to BPC, then a client of the firm. I did so as a lawyer, as a consultant to Davis & Co., and not as a consultant to BPC.
Christie said the facts are simple and straightforward, explaining he worked as a consultant for Deputy Prime Minister Philip Davis's law firm Davis & Co., which over the years represented a number of oil exploration companies, among them BPC. Christie added he actually advised BPC to leave Davis & Co.
But I was the one, while in opposition and with the consent of the senior partner of the firm of Davis & Co., advised BPC that they should leave Davis & Company and go to another law firm, because as long as they were there, they would be crucified not for the fact that they couldn't get good legal representation, but because who were their lawyers?
But it seemed Christie's explanations were not good enough for Long Island MP Loretta Butler Turner, who had originally raised the conflict of interest claims during debate on the petroleum bill last week. She said rather than continue with his verbal gymnastics, Christie needs to answer to the Bahamian people.
Mr. Speaker, I've sat here and listened very intently to what the honorable member for Centerville had to say with regards to defending himself against the so-called allegations that he claims that I put forth, definitely with regards to conflict of interest. And I stand by those comments which I made during my contribution. Unfortunately for the Bahamian people this morning, what we are getting is a diatribe of verbal gymnastics that does not speak to the whole issue at hand.
But Christie maintained he adequately addressed the issue, stating all Long Island will cause me to do is to repeat the same points again. Branding the conflict of interest claims wanton assaults, Christie said when allegations of this kind are made against the Prime Minister, the least the Prime Minister can do is offer an explanation, and that's what he's doing. Reporting for NB12, I'm Dana Smith.
A beloved volleyball coach was found dead in his St. Albans Drive apartment this afternoon. Police say the man appeared to have suffered blunt force trauma. Simone Davis has the story.
Police said the victim's body was discovered at around 2:30 this afternoon. However, Chief Superintendent Paul Roll also stated that when police arrived on the scene and entered the apartment, they did notice evidence of a struggle.
We were called here this afternoon to this apartment building on St. Albans Drive where a male was found. We are presently in the preliminary stages of this investigation, trying to determine the circumstances surrounding how this individual came by his death. And we are not quite certain as yet as to what actually transpired. As you can see, we have a number of officers on the scene.
Roll said the man was believed to be about 40 years old, and even with preliminary investigations, he was uncertain of the cause of death, but they do believe the death was a homicide. Roll said the victim was found in the living room of his home, but police did not reveal the type of injuries he sustained.
We believe it's a homicide. We have all of our forensic people, as I said, they're helping us to determine what could have happened.
What type of injuries does he have?
I'm not certain as to the injuries. We'll be able to provide some more information for you in due course.
Roll also revealed that the incident was not recent, and police called for forensic scientists to determine exactly how long the man was dead before relatives found his body after not hearing from him. He noted that there were no force of entry in the home, and relatives who found him used the key to get inside.
We're hoping that they would help us. We have to do some reconstruction to kind of determine. It's not a recent scene. The body is still in good condition, let's put it like that.
Decomposition started?
I don't think so, no. The room was cool.
Family members and friends on the scene identified the deceased as DeVince Smith, who was a national volleyball coach for more than 10 years.
DeVince Smith served as one of my vice presidents and a former New Providence Volleyball Association president, past president. DeVince, a cousin of mine, we're family also. We served together in volleyball for a long time. As a matter of fact, I trained him when he came into volleyball some 30 years ago. I was at my church and I got a text message and I just dropped everything and I came down here to see whether it was so, because I got a text that he fell out. So I thought it was just a normal thing with men, you know, we fell out with probably pressure or something like that. But coming here, I mean, it's shocking. It's shocking to the sporting world.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Simone Davis.
In other news, following confusion as to what really led to the resignation of Minister of State for Legal Affairs Damian Gomez from the cabinet, Gomez has confirmed his resignation was triggered by a dispute that has erupted between the Bank of the Bahamas and the company that he is a 50% owner in. Gomez spoke out after the Nassau Guardian revealed the details today in its headline story. According to The Guardian, the dispute centers on a Grand Bahama commercial property which is mortgaged by the bank and was advertised by the bank in late October as being in foreclosure. The company entered the loan agreement before Gomez became a shareholder, and Gomez's interest in the company predates his entrance into politics. but his 50% interest would disappear should the bank move ahead with the foreclosure. Gomez is also set to lose money in interest and other fees applied as a result of the non-payment of the loan. The details come after Prime Minister Perry Christie said last Monday Gomez resigned for financial reasons, and after Gomez said last Tuesday he resigned for ethical reasons.
I gave that explanation last week. I see that the Guardian has spoken with someone or gotten a hold of correspondence. I don't know how that happened, but the matter is being dealt with by my trustee, and should negotiations fail, then we'll do something else. This may end up in court, and my role in the cabinet is as a lawyer, and you can't be fish and fowl at the same time. So, this is the preferable way of doing it.
The Nassau Guardian reporting today that Gomez is hoping to amicably settle the dispute, but as the matter now involves lawyers and the bank could seek legal advice from the Office of the Attorney General, the minister has decided it would be improper for him to remain as Minister of State for Legal Affairs. When asked, Gomez confirmed the details are true and he believes he made the right decision.
And that ought to be obvious to even the blindest of persons.